Hi everyone, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Isabella and I'm a philosophy student at UCL. If you're not new here, then those things are still true. So in today's video, I'm going to give a review of all of the philosophy modules that I have taken in second year. The reason that I'm only reviewing the ones in second year is because all of the first year ones are mandatory, so I thought that if anyone was looking to choose any of the optional philosophy modules for second or third year, that this video might be somewhat helpful to you. If you'd like to see me review the philosophy modules that I took in first year, then make sure to let me know down below in the comments. So I'll only be reviewing 6 optional modules just because this year I took Chinese as an elective and therefore I took 6 instead of 8 philosophy modules. So the first module I'm going to review is Kant, and I gave this a 7.5 out of 10. I'm a little bit biased with my rating here because this is the only module that I know of so far where I got first in my essay. I will leave my video in the cards and in the description below talking about why and how I think I got a first in this particular module, but anyway, that is part of the reason why it's given such a high rating. The content of this was quite difficult because Kant is notorious for being quite a difficult and complex writer to understand, but I think that it was really important that I took this course because Kant definitely serves as a very important foundation for anyone studying philosophy. So in almost every module that you do, there will likely be some mention of Kant. So I think that if you are doing pure philosophy, that it is a good idea to take this Kant module because it does provide a really good background for most, if not all, of your other modules. As I mentioned, the reading was quite complicated, but it is very satisfying when you do finally understand what the reading means. And because Kant is such a prominent philosopher, there are lots of resources online to help you understand what the reading means. So for example, most of his works will have a SparkNotes page to help you understand what he's writing about. There are also lots of introduction to Kant books that can also help you understand this. So there's definitely a lot of resources to help you understand the reading in this module, which is not really the case for a lot of other modules, which some people might find quite helpful. Something that I didn't really like about this module was that it was very, very disorganized. So for example, in terms of feedback, we didn't get our marks until 2.5 months after submitting our summative essays. And even more frustrating than that was that we didn't get feedback for our formative essays until after the deadline for our summatives. So unless you got an extension, you would be submitting your summative without any feedback from your formative. Another frustrating thing was that the lectures were often posted very late, so either late at night the day before your seminar, or at times even after your seminar had happened, which meant that you were having to do catch-up work through no fault of your own. And the lectures tended to be an hour and a half rather than an hour, which was also really frustrating and difficult. The lecturer for this course is a world-leading expert on Kant, and that was really cool to learn from him, but it also meant that a lot of the terminology that he used was quite complicated for undergraduate students. Overall, I would definitely recommend taking this course because I think it provides really good foundational knowledge, and I definitely think that you learn a lot. The number one saving grace for me for this course was my seminar leader. He was really organized and on top of things. He was always available if you didn't understand something and was really good at explaining the content that was a little bit more difficult. He was a very supportive seminar leader and probably one of, if not the best seminar leader that I've had so far at UCL. The next module is Logic and its Limits, which was a very, very difficult module. I rated this a 7 out of 10. The reason why I think it was so difficult was because in first year we had strikes and we had COVID, so we got a lot less time doing logic than we normally would. Plus this was a level 6 course, which means that it was second years, third years, MPhils, and MAs. So there are some people who had been doing logic for 5 months and some people who had been doing logic for 4 years. So because there was such a disparity in the level of knowledge that people had, I found the course quite difficult. I didn't do very well in this module, but overall I did find it really interesting. I found the content really engaging and I really appreciated having this foundation for formalizing things in philosophy, and I thought that our lecturer slash seminar leader was very good since it was the same person for both, since it's quite a small module. And I did enjoy this module, but I kind of regret taking it because I didn't do very well and it was a big source of stress in my life in the first term. And then the final course that I took in first term in the philosophy department was Philosophy of Language, and I gave this a 6 out of 10. The reading was quite easy to understand and I did enjoy the things that we talked about in the seminars and I liked the lectures and things like that, but I just found them not as engaging as my other modules, and there were times where the seminars or the lectures could be a bit boring. Another thing that I really didn't like was that there was a particular particularly sensitive topic in the final week of this module, and there was no trigger warning or any notification that this would be a topic in this module, which I found kind of inappropriate because you never know what someone's circumstance or background could be. For me personally, it didn't really affect me, but I just think that it would have been a good thing for the department to have some kind of trigger warning or tell people the content of it so that if this was something that had affected them, that they would know before taking this module. Overall, it wasn't that I disliked this course, it was just okay. If you're really interested in philosophy of language, I would still recommend taking it, but there were definitely modules that I enjoyed more. Now moving on to the modules that I took in second term. So the first one would be Knowledge, which was an epistemology course, and I also rated this a 7 out of 10. The content was quite difficult, although nowhere near as hard as my Kant or Logic and its Limits modules. However, it was quite a lot of content to cover in 1 week, so most of our seminars were mainly focused on summarizing and understanding the content rather than having any debate and discussion, which I would have preferred a little bit more in the seminars. I think having an understanding of epistemology is really important to philosophy, so I would really recommend taking this course. I really liked my seminar leader. He was very helpful and encouraging, and I found that that made me look forward to going to those seminars. I did think overall that the content was very interesting and thought-provoking because it causes you to question a lot about what you know and how you know it, which is something that you can question a lot in your real life, so I really liked that aspect of the module. The next module I'm going to talk about is Aesthetics, and I rated this an 8 out of 10. The best thing about this module was the seminars. They were really engaging, really interesting. Everyone had something to say. There was no one in my seminar who didn't speak. Everyone wanted to be part of the debate and the discussion, and it was really cool seeing lots of people's different perspectives, especially because a lot of people in this module don't do philosophy. They might do art history or something similar, or just have an interest in art and therefore want to take this course. It was really nice hearing people talk about their favorite movies or their favorite book and talk about how that relates to the aesthetic experience. I also thought that the reading selections for this course were really good and not too difficult to understand except for the Kant weeks, but other than that, I found them really interesting and engaging. The one thing I didn't really like about this module was that because our discussions in seminars were much more general in terms of people's experience with art and their engagement with art, it made the essay quite difficult to write because we hadn't gone over much of the philosophical argumentation. The final module that I'm going to talk about was my Nietzsche module, and that was actually in the ESPS department, which is the European Social and Political Studies department, but it still counts as a philosophy module according to our department, and I rated this a 9 out of 10. This was definitely my favorite module. I really enjoyed the content, I really enjoyed the lectures, I thought the lecturer was really funny and engaging, and he did a really good job with his reading choices. Basically everything about this course was good. Some of my favorite aspects of the course were one, that it's a continental philosophy module, which is something that's quite rare at UK universities. As I've said many times in previous videos, most modules tend to be focused on analytic philosophy. Two, the text that we read for this course on the genealogy of morality was actually what got me into philosophy in the first place because that's what I studied during IB philosophy. I'm sure I've mentioned this in previous videos as well. And the third thing I really liked was the selection of reading. So obviously we did read a lot of Nietzsche's works, but we also read some Schopenhauer, and we also read selections from the Gospel and the Iliad. And I really enjoyed exploring how Nietzsche's ideology and his works can be applied to those pieces of literature. The reason that I gave this a 9 out of 10 instead of a 10 out of 10 was that my seminar was really dead, and I didn't dock many points for this because I don't think that that's the module's fault. Like, my seminar leader tried really hard to be encouraging, but I just think that the people in my seminar were quite shy, so a lot of the time it was mostly me speaking, which was kind of awkward, and I didn't want to come across as someone who just always felt the need to hear her own voice or anything like that. But it was just difficult because a lot of people didn't speak, partially because some people in that seminar didn't do philosophy, but in general I think that people were just shy. So those are my ratings and reviews for all of the philosophy modules I took in second year. If you liked this video or found this interesting, and comment down below anything you want to comment. If you'd like to see more videos like this from me, please make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so that you're notified every time I post a new video. Thank you for watching!